Dr. Ulrich Speidel, and he joins us now. Lovely to have you on. Thank you for making yourself available. You're in Tokyo, is that right?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yep.
You're in Tokyo?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm on research and study leave at the moment. We get this every few years to make sure we're not stewing too badly in our own juice and getting a bit of an outside view on the world. And that's usually a bit of research that we do. So I'm currently looking at various ways of improving internet in the Pacific region. And that's what I'm here for. But I guess that's not what you wanted to talk to me about.
No, that's fascinating in itself. I mean, seriously, I've never regarded New Zealand as being necessary pioneers in computer technology. I would have thought the Japanese are there. What are you learning in Japan that New Zealand could do here, just quietly?
Learning a lot about how to design for networks for resilience, and for example, you probably remember the Tongan earthquake, also volcanic eruption, sort of followed by various undersea earthquakes that have cut off the cables there a number of times, and first time it hit the media big time, but the second and third time around this year, it's hardly made a ripple in New Zealand. But there's a lot of lessons to be learned, and that includes lessons for New Zealand's connectivity. I mean, the fact that we are able to talk to each other now is because there are those undersea cables, and we don't really know particularly well, what risks they're being exposed to, and also if one particular cable fails, what particular services run over that, or because we've got several cables, so we don't really know if something happens what's going to fail. And so those are things that I'm interested in, but I'm mostly at the moment up here looking at satellite connectivity into Pacific Islands, and it's cable connectivity into Pacific Islands. So that's what I'm specifically here for.
Good on you. No, that's good. I'm glad to see my vast expenses upon academic New Zealand are not going to waste. That's great, Ulrich. Listen, mate, it's coming into exam season. It's not just exam season for university and tertiary students, but it's also exam season, as you know, for school students as they sit their external NCA exams. And cheating, or rather the dark arts of learning knowledge, has become relatively widespread. And I know, talking to my year 13 daughter, for example, that AI is a constant companion of her age and peer group. And I've also got a daughter in her first year at Auckland University as well, who tells me similar. And that there is a sort of a process going by where people who aren't as technically literate as you are, Ulrich, are trying to, in actual fact, catch or at least ensure that there's honesty and probity in the way in which students sit exams, when really that's not their particular expertise either. Question, and the reason why I'm talking to you, have we got a problem? And the second question would be, if we have, what can we do about it?
Okay, so to your first question, yes, we do have a problem, and it's a sector-wide problem. So it's not, one that's sort of restricted to, any particular university or any particular school. And it also didn't quite start with artificial intelligence coming on board. So it really started with online examinations coming on board, and there's different types of online examinations. So you get the ones where people basically sit them from home, or get a friend to sit them for them from home, that are completely invigilated, where there's really nobody looking. Then there's the ones that are sort of trying to use the semblance of a system that kind of electronically looks after them. But they all have fairly easy workarounds, and now universities have also sort of started, pulling back onto campus and saying, okay, you're going to be sitting an electronic exam, but you're going to be sitting it in a laboratory, or you're going to come in with your laptop, you're going to go onto university Wi-Fi, and you're going to sit it there. But all of those systems have sort of one thing in common, and this is that they literally use a computer that you actually work on, and then there's a system that's sitting, either in the cloud or at the university, that's basically taking collecting all the answers. And the problem with this is that a lot of those systems are not particularly well designed. They're not particularly well protected. And so I've dealt with countless cases, for example, of students logging in, or somebody logging in with the student's credentials. This is login and name and password from places that clearly the students shouldn't have been in. I mean, for example, if we've got an exam arranged to be in a laboratory, on laboratory computers, we would expect all answers to be submitted from machines within the address range of the machines in that computer lab. And then if we start looking at the logs of those answers, and a lot of people don't even look at those logs, they don't even know that they exist or that they can request them, then basically we see that there are all sorts of other addresses turning up that are not in the laboratory and that are actually supplying answers to those questions on behalf of students in the class. And some students, when we then ping them about them, they are fairly surprised that we're even looking because that's not something that they're used to. Often we catch them maybe in their second or third year, and they've gotten away with this, for in pretty much every course, every assessment, for an entire year. And then when we start interviewing them, we start realizing that they really have no idea about the subject that they've purportedly been, getting A grades in for the last 1.5, 2 years. And so what can one do about it? Sorry,
just on that. So who's doing their exams on behalf of these people, Ulrich? Are they paid professionals?
We don't know who these. We don't know whether they're professionals, whether they're friends. In some cases, I think they're probably just, helpers like flatmates or, friends outside. In some cases, we know they're paid helpers. Some students that we interview will tell us, for example, what the price tags are for getting an exam done.
Wow.
But for all practical purposes, for all practical purposes, we can kind of detect that sort of thing when we look, but even the looking is somewhat a specialist skill. And as somebody, who teaches and researches in networking, I'm fortunate and privileged enough to possess that skill. But I know that probably about 98% of my colleagues across the university don't have that skill. And it's not a skill that's easily made available at scale and at quantity. So really, at the end of the day, having a secure exam environment is important. And we're trying to do this with all sorts of, technical means. But the problem is a lot of those technical means are, often put in without, a lot of expert input. And so, for example, when you're having those exams that are using university, Wi-Fi or school Wi-Fi in order to let students come in with their own devices. Well, if students have their own devices, we have no control over what they're running.
Yeah.
But moreover, when we're letting them use Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi is a system that's extremely easily interfered with. It's very, very easy. We all carry around the devices with us that are required in order to interfere with it. And if I wanted to walk into a university exam to cause havoc with the Wi-Fi network, that would be very, very easy to do. I'm not going to tell you, obviously we've got exams coming up, I'm not going to tell you how I do it, but I can tell you it's very, very easy. It's very, very straightforward. And
listen, it's been since the pandemic, isn't it? No, but Ulrich, it's been since the pandemic. So we moved on to online exams because people were shut down, and then people thought, this is quite a way to go. I think all universities do online exams. There was a massive problem at Massey last year, I think, when a number of them went offline. And my son struck that, obviously, for NCA. My daughter, when, again, it just went down during exam. Why did we move to online? Does it make it any more efficient than the good old pen and paper?